to be able to apply for this very competitive opportunity. So really, really excited to see you all. And I can't wait to hear the stories of the participants here who are joining us today and their experience, to be able to hear their experiences, alumni, many of them who are part of the panelists. Joining me right now is Fatma Hussein, who is a cohort 99 and representing the ASAL region. We also have Harun Modena, who is cohort 30, representing the coastal region. We have Isa Kivembe, representing the eastern region. And we have Yoal Domai, cohort 37, representing urban refugees. So we tried to make the session so diverse to ensure that we do have at least a few of people coming from the marginalized regions, including myself. I come from the Coast Province. And just to have this conversation to look into how best we can tap into these opportunities so that we can be the leaders who stand in the gap for our people, even as we pull more of our people to come and join us. So without much further ado and doing so much, I'd like to head straight into the programs. If you allow me to keep checking the program, just to welcome you. And I hope that you're actually still typing on the chat. Where are you from? Why are you excited about this session? What is your favorite meal? Everything about yourself, anything new that we don't know about yourself, keep putting on the chat, and we shall hope to shout out some of the interesting ones that we do see in this session. So we do want to start immediately with the hearing from one of our diverse speakers, and that is Yoal Domai. I don't know, Yoal, if you're ready, if you can show your face and just come to the stage. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you again, Yoal.
It's nice to see you, Esther. Good to see you.
Yeah, excited to see you, and really good that you made time to be part of this session. And so just to get straight into you, maybe you can, as you answer this question, you just get straight into introducing yourself and a little bit about your story so that we can get to know you. But before you answer, the main question is going to be, what has your experience been in terms of, and this is in terms of being marginalized, in terms of being an urban refugee, and then you can also now share a little bit about your experience as you answer the question.
Thank you very much, Esther. It's good to see you again. And thanks to my colleagues who are on the call as well, Aaron and the rest. And most importantly, to our audience who are here to get insight from us, especially those who have been through the programs. That is the YALI program, I mean. And it is our hope that we will deliver on your expectations. So about myself, my name is Yoal Domai. I am originally from South Sudan. But I came to Kenya in the year 2014 as a result of South Sudan 2013 conflict. So I came through Kakuma refugee camps, and that's where I was first registered as a refugee. And later I came to Nairobi, which has been my location for the past 10 years, purposely for the education reason. So I've been here as a student and also as a refugee. So about this conversation, I know it's very timely, especially for our young leaders. But I just want to mention something brief about the word marginalization and coming from a minority group. And at times, you know, that word is very reduced to just, you know, hard-to-reach areas. But we are in a world that, you know, is growing smaller and smaller day by day, second by second. You hear the word, quote unquote, the world is becoming a global village. And the two contributing factors to that is the technology and the information sharing. So you realize everybody have access to technology, everybody have access to information. So it's upon you to use that to your advantage. It was easy for me, it was so easy for me to say that I'm a refugee and I come from a very marginalized group of people who are oftentimes not prioritized when it comes to opportunities. But you see, that's a choice for you to make. I've seen people traveling to different parts of the world, coming from very unheard places. Let's mention Kakuma, let's mention IDP camps. But these leaders are able to travel the world, going to UK, going to USA, going to Asia, to attend conference, to attend event, to share what they do. Now that is the information, because you can decide to maybe be in an island and not have access to this kind of information, and you think you're marginalized. But the reality, you're just not tapping into these opportunities, because when you choose to share your stories, especially on LinkedIn, or share what you do, you have access to sites that are relevant to you. Clearly, whatever you do will be seen by the world, and you will also have opportunities to maybe support what you do
Design the database. We just keep it for future reference
in different communities. So the one thing that I really want to emphasize on is that information right now is everywhere. And for anybody to identify himself or herself that I belong to a very minority group or a very marginalized group, really become a choice. I understand, the systemic inequality that come with, being a refugee or being from a very small group of people. But again, you have the opportunity right now to use that to your advantage. You come from a very small group, yes, but how are you representing the issues? How are you representing these issues and individuals who have access to the world, who have access to technology? And maybe we can argue that, information is very filtered in a way. Like right now, there are people in Kakuma or other places who don't have access to maybe, let's say, technology or information. And I would like to argue on that. Because let's say right now I post maybe a photo on Facebook. You find in the next 1 hour, 90% of those who like that picture are coming from, quote unquote, marginalized areas, or hard to reach places. So, it's about identifying which is the right side, which is the right, information for you, and use that to your advantage. So that is one thing that I really would like to comment on, to use the information that is available and try to use it to your advantage. I know, YALI, we can be here the whole day to talk about, what it means, the opportunity, the mindset, and the community it gives you. Imagine 14 different countries in East and Central Africa. That is, you have a friend, let's say I want to go to Congo right now. It's just a matter of texting the group, like, I'm coming. Is anybody ready to host me? And I will have 1,000 people who want to host me. So we can spend the whole day just to talk about that. But I'm trying to emphasize that, on the flip side, that, the information is out there, the technology out there. Right now, people are trying to be very, very economical with the information as well. So you realize if you are not in any group, you're left out on opportunities and information that could be very relevant to your growth and also to the support of what you're doing. So joining YALI or joining other groups is one of the very key factors to support your growth as an individual and also what you do in your different communities. Because when I joined YALI, it was just the height of, it was one of the regional leadership that, the young leaders in communities, entrepreneurs, who are very outgoing, who are, you can see in communities are really making things happen. So it was that push that I want to prove that, I also want to be that leader. It was a challenge upon myself. But when I get into the YALI, I realized there's so much more to it. The opportunity that comes with it, that is something called T-Fund, that is the transformational fund. It is up to around 30,000. Yeah, I didn't know when I was joining YALI. But right now you have this information, you have this funding that is, if you are not alumni, but definitely you don't have access to that just by the fact that you're not alumni. Now it's the same to other groups. Yeah, you find like right now, if you don't belong to any group, you realize you're missing out a lot on funding because the priority is given to, are you part of this group? Are you part of this community? Because everybody's trying to, okay, we train you, but we don't want to make it just training. We also want to support you in your different communities. So you find the information and also the funding. It is really, tailored to those who are the members. So join YALI, join other groups, yeah, just so that you get a very tailored mentorship, you get a very quick funding, you get a chance to see the world and travel. So I don't think I'll exhaust what come with
The chance
YALI.
to see the world. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And it's
Yeah.
truly factual. I mean, I can testify to that as an alumni. The experience has been like nothing short of life-changing for me. And the benefits that you discover once you're part of that community, it can't be said in just the hour that we have. And like you said, we do not have the whole day. But I think just to go specific before we go to Fatma, just to emphasize for you particularly as you are, what was your before and after? Like how was the transformation journey for you? How did you change, like before YALI and after YALI? What was that like for you?
All right. I joined YALI in 2020. That was during COVID-19. And looking back at 2020, it has been a long time. And I was arguing with my friend that YALI gave you this pressure of, go be the change that you want. After you join YALI will tell you, right now you're the leader, and go make the change happen. And you look at it, the training take only, I think, 4 weeks. Right now, you become a leader, you become an entrepreneur, you become somebody who will go back to the community and do things. And that's the pressure a lot of alumni have. Yeah. On one side, it's very good. Yeah, because if you look at YALI members right now, somebody just went through the program with just an idea in the mind, and you come back to the community and you really work on it. So YALI gives you that mindset of now you have the skill, now you know how to talk to people, and this is how you can conceptualize whatever you've been working on. So when I joined YALI, I was just a student, and right now I'm the CEO with 4 people I'm working with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of how to develop your ideas, design them, and very supportive network who can always reach out to whenever you're having an event or something. That is quite very key. So my after and before YALI, I'll say that I joined as just a co-founder and came out as a CEO. Yeah, and that's the thing, like you go to community and make change happen. Change is not just about you're taking, maybe you're becoming president or something. It's just about that's the necessary small step. Becoming a CEO, employ 2, 3 people. That's already big. Imagine one person out of poverty. That's very big. So
Exactly. That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, very profound, Yoel. I mean, just to enter there as student, a co-founder, and then actually leaving, having the skills to be able to run your own company and empower other people, lift other people up. And I think that's the spirit of YALI. And I can also almost share the same story. I went there just quitting my job, and I also went ahead to start a business boldly and courageously. So I think that's such a great testimony that you have shared, and thank you for starting us off on the same. I'm going to go straight to Fatma, and I think you're going to still come back even in the long run, and just have Fatma join us in this panel. If you can, and video yourself so that we can see you, and then we can also get to hear a lot from you as well. And then everyone who is in the meeting, feel free to send on the chat, where are you from? What are you excited about this session? Any questions that you may have? What is your favorite food? What don't we know about you? Feel free to engage right there on the chat, and we'd be happy to engage with you. So Fatma, karibu sana, welcome, representing the ASAL. So thank you for joining. If you can just start us off by an introduction of yourself, what you're doing, and then also going right deep into it about how you have overcome some of the challenges that you have overcome in terms of being a person from the a marginalized area into getting into the YALI program, and how that program impacted yourself as a leader. So Fatma, karibu sana, and take it away. I think you're on mute still, Fatma.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, this is Fatuma Hussein. I come from Mandera County, and I'm a YALI alumni cohort 29. Yes, coming from a more of a marginalized, let me say, but I will not really want to call myself marginalized, because I get all the opportunities like everybody else, in as much as my story can be different, and from the aspect of the culture and the community I come from, most of the things as a young girl you learn to shut up. You just learn that all along, and then we grow up, we join a global world where it is no longer sharing up. If it is pressing so hard, you just have to say it is painful here. Then, okay, I learned that from the rest, being exposed to every other community in Kenya taught me to say what I feel, to say what is not right, to give in, to give my input. Because being raised as a young girl in my community is like, okay, wewe nyamaza, wewe sikiliza. Then with time, I'm learning from everyone else that it is not only that. Then when it comes to the YALI opened so many doors for me. First, when I went there, I learned, I engaged with so many other leaders, and I learned saying what it is or how it feels is the right thing. And that is exactly that time when I had gone for the training of cohort 29 in December 2018 was when I was facing a rape case. My case was in court. So like when I go there and I hear that everybody talk, then I felt I can open up. So there is a community that feels, a whole lot that feels it is okay to say how it feels. It is okay if it happens with you, and it can happen to all of us. So it gave me that voice. Then secondly, YALI helped me attract more opportunities, like mchukue kutoka darasani. I cannot find I'm in a meeting. I'm sorry, I'm at school and I'm dealing with some learners also. So I'm sorry. Then I ended up being a gender-based violence champion. I ended up being a peace champion. I ended up being a mentor and for the girls in my community. All that because of being exposed, because of seeing others feeling it, then being taught that it is okay to say how it feels. And then generally, if it is about community, it is your passion that drives you, your own answers to those problems, so that it doesn't look like it is somebody else's thing. Then when you are answering questions, when you want to join YALI, you'll be asked questions. you'll have to set the numbers and then set your own version of solving it, something that you can own, and then be very specific. If you are in the education sector, if you are in the health center sector, you'll have to really set the exact thing that is happening. So with those few remarks, maybe if I be asked more, I'll tell more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Fatma. And I'm happy that you found your voice. And I think you sharing your story about how you came in at a very vulnerable time and what you had experienced. You even had a case in court, and just coming to this space and being able to find your voice. And I think many participants who are right here in the call may relate to your story in one way or the other. Even in our leadership journey, we go through moments where we need other people to remind us that we have a voice and we can use it. So thank you very much for sharing that story. So for both you, and I think I'll still call Yoal and yourself so that you can both answer this question, is how have you personally, and I think as Yoal mentioned earlier, you have overcome barriers by being exposed and taking up opportunities because the opportunities are available. But you have also mentioned, Fatma, that culture also has had some barriers in terms of even expression, like women do not express as much as possibly that you are now expressing. And there are so many people, and we are lucky that right now we are representative of some of those who have come from those places, and we've been privileged and we access opportunities. But we also have a lot of other people who are not enjoying the privileges that we are enjoying right now. For example, when I saw Harun coming from the place that I also come from, and I saw him, he had come to Nairobi, I wondered, how did he get here? How did he overcome some of those barriers that are already limiting? There's so many factors that are against him, but he has managed to come across and be able to do all that. And I'm sure for you, Yoal, even if you look at your background and you look maybe, let's say it's the refugee camp at Kakuma, you do understand how hard it is for someone to get out of that space and literally get to the top. And so you realize at this moment, you are probably an exceptional story or probably the only story. And so you are representing a population that is, you know, a story of someone to emulate. And even for you, Fatma, as a woman who is outspoken and speaking and standing for your voice, you do understand that you also represent a very significant part of a woman who has broken a lot of barriers. So how would you encourage the members who are here from your own personal stories that they can also overcome some of those challenges, even before we go to the next session?
Okay. Generally, the challenges are so many. And then one way is making Google your friend. And then when you're trying to find answers to your problems or to your community problems, tailor them to that specific thing that you want to solve. And then the other thing, when opportunities present themselves, like YALI and other mentorship opportunities, when they present themselves, embrace those opportunities. Take your own, or own your own story, and then whatever opportunity that is presented, don't sit back. Just go for it. Like, how did I end up being a gender-based violence champion in my community? I was just asked, what are the challenges? I set my challenges, and then I write my own solutions for those problems, and then share it with everyone else. And then it ends up being amazing. Then when the challenges, yes, they are all there, but because of the education we get, even up to just high school, how is your story of your education? How is your education journey? Yes, I completed Form 4, and then after that, there was nothing to do. Whatever that presents itself, hata kama ni kazi ya, like being a maid, something that will engage you for that moment, go for it. And then it's not always that somebody will be out there to sponsor you, take your education to the highest level. Somebody will be there to help you solve all your problems. It's not that they will always be there, but how do you engage yourself? Like, how do you use that time that it is only you alone? There is no one to step in for you. You'll have to step up for yourself. And then one thing I've learned is that with time, as you engage and take every small step you can to improve yourself by making use of these precious moments and these times you have, you'll end up attracting the right opportunities or the right-minded people to yourself. Like right now, I'm a member of Optimist International. I just took my girls from my village so that they can go and see how the other girls in the rest of Kenya behave. Then there I met women. I became a member of the Optimist International. So that small thing that you do, it's not only you facing the challenge. The challenge is for all of us. Then how are you helping others first? One thing that has always been of help to me is the help that I give to others. The small help, like a girl who says, I've not eaten in the last 2 days. Like, okay, I have no school fees. Then what do I do? That small thing that I do to help her is the same thing that is helping me. So the challenges are always the small steps we take, the help we, how much we age ourselves, how much them, how much we narrate our version of the same story to the others and help them solve their own problems by narrating our own is one thing that has helped me solve most of the challenges for myself and for my peers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatuma. I think I really appreciate that. I really love that. Own your story, and be proud of your story and your journey. And I really like that you said, yes, everyone is facing challenges and you're facing challenges, but where the leadership comes is you take that challenge and you find solutions to that and you help yourself and then you go ahead and help other people. And I think that's what leadership is. And I think many of us here in the participants and in the audience, you're probably thinking, am I a leader? But as you heard Fatma said, you have experienced this problem, but instead of sitting in the problem, complaining about the problem, you choose yourself and make yourself the leader who will find a solution to that. So I really appreciate that, Fatma. To you, Yoal, I know I've just mentioned, like, especially for you, it's an exceptional story. Kakuma, knowing, I don't know whether that's exactly where you're from, but just coming from there and getting out and making something great out of yourself, you do understand you're an exception. So how did you get into that space? How did you choose yourself and how did you get yourself to this top level beyond just finding the opportunities? Yeah.
Thanks again, Esther. And to Fatma, I think I cannot really put it any better. Stand up for yourself is the same as, go be the change that you want, which is, I think the motto for every alum. But yeah, I just want to reiterate that everybody have their enough problems. So I talk to Kenyans, I talk to my friends, they have their own problems, which are even more crazier, even when they're not refugees. And the only difference is that you will see yourself as a victim, but some will see an opportunities out of these situations. And most of the time, I really find it hard to talk about myself and my story, not because it's hard, but I feel there are more even, needed stories that the world wants to hear. And just to respond on your question, I have a friend who is right now my close friend. We grew up together and is right now in Juba. Juba in the IDP camps, the very small pills which is like literally a cage. So you cannot compare that to Kakuma, because Kakuma is more free, you have access to opportunities and support from UN itself. But you realize Juba, I mean, the IDP camp there, even the sanitation is crazy. But when I talked to one of my friends, I told him, you have a choice. Yeah, to, see what is happening right now in the camp for the rest of your life, because we don't know when South Sudan is really going to get better for all of us. So I told them, you decide. Right now, you can decide to, just live the way, things are in the camp, or try to see the opportunity and, use that to your advantage. And he did. He came up with a project which he called Youth Friendly Space, which is just, trying to mentor the youth within the camp, giving them leadership skills, trying to support them entrepreneurially so that people are able to, provide for themselves and not just rely on the UN or the limited donation from UN agencies, which are available in the camp. And right now, it's growing so big. It's it has been invited to most fellowship, most summit. He had the opportunity to attend the One Young World. Unfortunately, was denied the visa. So these are the opportunity that comes when you realize, okay, I can't really provide solutions in such situation. So it's about seeing the opportunities out of the problem that you're experiencing, and that's the same thing. If you go to entrepreneurial world, the business world, the one thing they will ask you, okay, what's the problem? You highlight the problem very well. Then they ask you, what is your solution, and how can we be of support to that? So once you have the problem already, you look just for a solution and try to rally for people to support you. And we always be here as your fellow Africans, just to push the story. And yeah, but I just want to tell you that as a young person, at times you really think that whatever I'm doing is not enough. It's YALI will really accept, my work. Yeah, I'm just doing a community outreach, talking to my fellow boys or girls, and that's not enough. YALI really supports dreamers, people who think forward. So whatever you're doing as a young person is not small. Get it out there, apply for YALI, get the thought membership, and be part of YALI, and also to other opportunities, get your story out there. Right now you have the power, you have the technology within you, you have your phone, you have your laptop or whatever you're using to really, put your story hard. Whatever you're doing, put it online. Yeah, online, I don't mean just Facebook. Online, I mean you have a website, you have a LinkedIn account, you have these powerful tools that your story can easily be supported. So see your situation as be proactive. That's what they say in YALI. Yeah, see opportunities out of what you're experiencing, and don't just sit down and say, oh, I'm ABCD. Everybody is struggling with something. Yeah. So it's upon you to sit down and say, okay, I can bring a solution not only to myself, but also to this community. The same cycle continues, because if people see in the community that, okay, Mr. So-and-so is doing this for himself and also to his close friend, there will be a replication of the same. And before you know it, the community has changed just as quickly as you can see it. So it's about being proactive. It's about, seeing opportunities out of those problems. And that's how the world moves, that's how the world changes. So again, it's your choice. Yeah, thank you.
I love that. I love that you say it's your choice and just to be proactive. And I really love the most that you're saying the problems are opportunities, depending on now how you look at it. Because the fact that you are maybe from this space or you are from this region, in many cases, you are the only one in a room, and thus you become a voice for everyone and you're able to speak your story. The truth is now, instead of looking at your story from a place of shame, you take your power back and look at it as at a point of victory. And I really, really appreciate that. And I really appreciate all the young people here, and especially yourself, you guys, who have even gone ahead and told people to see what opportunities lay ahead from them, as opposed to being depressed, calling yourself marginalized, minority. And I remember growing up, even I myself, when people would always want to insist I'm a minority, I never for once felt I am a minority. I never allowed myself to pity myself at the corner and think, oh, I'm minor, I cannot do this. In fact, it pushed me to work harder so that no one can think less of me. And so I really appreciate what you have said, Yoel. So back to us, participants and the audience, I would like us to unmute and ask Yoel and Fatma questions, because this is the time for Q&A. So I think I'd rather you unmute and you ask the question as opposed to typing. But if you can't, you can also type on the chat. So we are leaving this moment for Q&A. Any question that you have that you'd like to ask them, especially in regards to how they have reached the levels that they have, and also any questions about their YALI experience. What I'm seeing on the chat as you prepare to unmute, but you can also share. Oh yeah, I hear someone has unmuted. Just go ahead and ask your question. Is that Grace? Go ahead and ask.
Okay, hello everyone. Okay, I'm Grace
Hi.
from Kenya in Kilifi County, and I'm looking forward to engage more, to know more, to engage in YALI. But I have this question because I have heard that the problems in my community can be the opportunity, can create more opportunities and can open doors for more opportunities. My question is there support that one get in providing solution in the community?
Thank you, Grace, for that question. I think I can answer that, but I'm also calling Fatma to also just help in that. Like, is there any support in terms of when you find the solution to the problems that that the community has? Is there any support that you get?
Hello.
Hello, is that Fatma? Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Support is there, and there is there is a lot of support out there. Once you have identified that there is that thing and you've owned it, it is your own story, then whenever you share it to the right group, to the right people, the support comes. Like the last time I know Haron, and then we engaged on something on climate change. He just said there is a summit, there is a session for those youth working on climate justice. Fatima, will you be available? I just say, yes, I'm available. And then whenever I'm asked, are you available to do such a thing? Yes, I'm available. And then in the end, it usually happens that we get out of this is usually bigger. I didn't expect money from just attending a climate justice session, and I ended up with a lot of money. Let me say, I was sharing with Haron, I got 160,000. I didn't think it will come that easily. But one thing I learned is take that challenge. If If you are told of an opportunity, you are told of a challenge, take it up. But a bag of your head, don't say that I'm expecting ABCD. That's why I'm doing ABCD. Give it all. Like for you, let it be from your heart, almost like you're giving it free. But then what you get is usually bigger. So I usually say help is out there. It's just that do you get to attract the right people to share that specific thing that you'll want you to be helped with. Like when I took my girls, just volunteered to take them to a mentorship in Lugari in Kakamega County. I met women there, through Optimist International, willing hearts, women who were willing to hear the story of every girl, who are willing to help every girl. I didn't know it will come with such as like something bigger than I had expected. Mine was, let me just help these girls reach there, expose them, let them just gain the confidence. But what comes out of it is usually bigger. So what is your intention? Is it, let it be that intention of just doing the good, and usually something big comes out of it. That is my own way to answer you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, that's so true. It first starts with the wants and the need to just help, and eventually it becomes a cause, it becomes a movement. Then later you start to think, I am using so much effort for this, I need to get paid. But it doesn't start with, I need to get paid. It starts from, I'm really burdened by this issue, by seeing the challenges that my fellow people are going through. And I am at a place of privilege that I'm able to help. I think that's a good place to start, Grace. And once you start from the heart and you do a good job and it's authentic, definitely something good is going to come out of it. And I saw Haron wanted to answer that. So I don't know whether you want to answer that now or later, but even okay, it's okay. You can answer that now. It's okay. Perfect.
Nema, I will answer that question later because it's part of my session. So I will get a detailed feedback. So no worries. Back to you.
All right. So someone, okay, so then I'm just going to go to some of the questions that I'm seeing on the chat. I'm seeing Andrew Kayani saying, what advice would you give to someone who's applied for the YALI program before? Like you've applied before and you are still applying. I think the truth is you should just keep applying and keep improving whatever it is that you're doing and apply better. Because I know there are a lot of people who are doing such a good job, but they don't know how to write well the essays. Sit with someone, let them help you and guide you towards that, how you're packaging whatever it is that you're doing. Keep doing. I know many people who've applied 7 times just to be taken the next time. Some have applied over and over and over. How much do you want it? So keep applying, but keep improving your application. Don't use the same way you applied before. Keep improving your work, because it's all about impact. And as long as you're doing the right thing, you will be located. Even if it's not YALI, someone will locate you, someone will find you. I don't even know how Harun made it to the United Nations, but he made it. So someone will locate you. I see Steven. Steven, you have a question. Please go ahead and ask.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I must say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Stephen Doal Matthew. I'm from Rhino Camp Refugee Settlement in Uganda. And I couldn't be more happy to attend this session, hearing these inspiring experiences from you. Esther, Aaron, and Yoel. I think it's really so inspiring to be in this session. And I must say, when I leave this session, I'll pick one thing from your experiences. But my concern is on YALI application. Yeah, as someone said earlier on, I am also a victim who has been applying Actually, now I think it's my third time to apply for this call, and yeah, I have what it takes to, when it comes to experience, community work, so community solving community problems, all such things are there with me. I've started volunteering since 2019, and up to now, I am part of a community-based organization, a refugee youth-led organization that I and my colleagues founded in 2020. And we are really doing an amazing job. But my challenge, and I think it's really very interesting that I'm part of this session today, to also get more clues or more views on how I can really submit my application this time around and can be considered. My request is that at least if one is willing to take me through, maybe I drafted my application, it's ready. Then I just wanted someone to review it and give me feedback before I actually submit it. So that's my humble request, and I'm actually more than happy to be in this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And I'm sure Harun will gladly volunteer himself or any of the alumni here to just help you review your work, because there's nothing better than having passionate people join the program and benefit from it and grow and expand their leadership. So I know Harun and also the rest of the speakers will go deeper into the application process and how you can enhance your application, because I see also Benson has shared the same thing, but he's saying there's an error on the site. So I'll also follow up with the admissions team on the same to guide. But then about the full application process, I know Harun is just going to go deep into it, because yes, it is true. It's about your story. Is it authentic? Is it real? But also just being able to express it. What I can say from my end is, even as you use your words, insert your links of your pages where you are doing everything. So I think it gives you an added advantage, because where maybe you are short in expressing your words and you have your links of the work that you're doing, it's hard to discredit the pictures of the work that you're doing. So I would add that, but then also make your essays long enough. I know I've been part of the reviewers a while back when I was just an alumni, and I noticed some people write only 2-3 sentences in where you are supposed to really elaborate what you're doing. So just keep improving. And I know Harun is going to talk a lot more on that. And I see Yoel would like to answer that. So feel free to also just input your comment on the thing.
No, I really don't have much to say. I think you really put it in a way that we will have liked it. Yeah, it's really, yeah, we're here to help you. Brother Stephen, we're here to review your application. That's the purpose of this call, is just to provide that support. So you can reach out to any of us, and we'll be happy to help you, especially on reviewing your application. Because YALI has like 3 tracks, yeah? I know Aaron maybe will talk about it later. So if you are submitting what you do to the wrong track, sometimes it becomes very, very difficult. Right now, maybe you are in a civic sector, or maybe you are doing so much in the NGO world, and you are submitting your application to be an entrepreneur. So that becomes very difficult. So yeah, you need guide, and you're here to help. I can tell you the first time I applied, I think 2016, I was still in high school. And the application was even more harder, because just to get that tick, the green tick, to go to the next section was quite hard. I end up not submitting my application. And in 2020, I applied with so much ease, and that was because I was a guide. Guide and mean, somebody you reach out to and have start conversation like this one. And at that time, it was difficult. Right now, alumni have many. Everybody is willing to help you. Before it was difficult. So we're here to help you, support you, And because we really want more people who are coming from, such places like camps to, have access to this opportunity. And that is why we are voluntarily here to support you. So yeah, sometimes you just need to write like a leader. You're writing 2 sentences. Who's going to read those? Yeah. So, tell your story and let it align, from, especially when you're telling your personal statement, it's very important that, it flows. Yeah, there are no gaps. Like you have been asked one question here, you answer it differently, the others, you answer it differently. There must be consistency in responding to this question. But I'm sure my friend will talk about more later. Thank you.
You said it like a true leader. Thank you so much for that. I'm seeing another question, but I'd like it to be answered in the next session. So just keep posting them there. And I am hoping Harun is reading even as he prepares whatever he's going to say. Let us take a short break and drink some water. Even leaders need to drink water so that we can be hydrated and rejuvenated. So let's take a 5 minutes break. Then we can be back here and continue. Keep sending your questions, keep sending your comments. Thank you once again for joining. And I do hope that these sessions will be so insightful, will invigorate you so that you can go and apply a bit better. So I'll just put some music for 5 minutes, then we can come back and continue with the next session. Just a minute, let me stop to share. All right. All right, so we are back. I hope you've had water and you are geared up for the next session, which also has a lot of exciting things. We wait to hear expert insights on navigating opportunities with the YALI RLC and learn from YALI alumni about various opportunities and resources that are available for you. And also, I'm sure this is also together with how to apply for Harun will advise that will probably come later. So we have Ise, Kipembe, and Harun Mwadena who are going to take us through this session. So I am going to just go straight ahead and start with you, Harun, or if you're ready. And since you're already on my screen, so I could just start with you in terms of how do you navigate the opportunities and learn and the various opportunities and resources that are available in YALI.
Hi, Nema. I'm suggesting if you can pass it to Elsa first, and then I'll take it like at the last person.
Oh, so you want to come after Ise?
Yeah, I think akona different engagement yataka ashare alafu nini. So unaweza anza naye kwanza.
Ondoke. All right. So Ise, karibu sana. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can just come on video so that we can see you and hear from you as well. Hi, Ise. How are you?
I'm good. Hi.
Representing very well, representing all the way from Eastern region. So happy that you could be here to just share what opportunities these young leaders can anticipate by being part of the program, what resources can they anticipate, and how can they make the most of it.
Okay, thank you so much,
And
Nema,
also introduce yourself.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Nema. Good afternoon to every applicant. I don't know if it's afternoon on your end, but it's afternoon on my end. My name is Ilse Sionti Kidembe. I am currently in the coast of Kenya, but I would generally, let me share this about myself in case anyone else is confused about where to locate themselves. So I fall under a very interesting category of individuals worldwide and in East Africa in particular, because I do not fit into the definition of a marginalized individual, but I live a nomadic life. So what happens is my parents, due to the nature of their work, moved from one place to the other. So in every single place that I went, I was a marginalized community. But at any point, I cannot say I'm a marginalized community from coast, I'm a marginalized person from whatever, because I have moved. Maybe to put it in a more palatable way, I have been to 12 schools in 8 years in primary school alone. So I've lived moving from place to place. And so even when I was applying for YALI, I know originally my parents come from the Eastern Province, and at that time they were in Coast, but I was also in Kisumu. So I didn't know, do I write Nyanza region? Do I write Coast region? Do I write Eastern region? Because I feel like I don't belong anywhere, and I cannot call myself a refugee. I don't know what to call myself. So in case anyone is confused about it, I still made it to YALI despite not belonging to a particular community or region. Currently in the coast, I run a community-based organization called G4 Girls Initiative. G4 Girls Initiative is based in Lungalunga. Lungalunga is at the Kenya-Tanzania border, and we work around adolescent sexual and reproductive health rights, access to education for girls, environment justice, and children rights. At the time I was joining YALI, so I am alumni of YALI, the YALI Africa-wide cohort, the one and only that brought together different participants from all over Africa. So unlike other cohorts, cohorts where they bring East Africa, then Southern Africa, then West Africa. So for us, we had the whole of Africa in our cohort. It was just after COVID, so it was an online cohort. And that is how I got into YALI. I was in the civic leadership track. But even before YALI, when I was in campus, I went to campus Maseno University, which is in Kisumu, I interacted with YALI a lot. I think that is one of the things that drew me to YALI. So I was doing Maestros Kenya and Sub-Saharan Africa Model United Nations. And most of the people that would come to our engagements were YALI alumni. And the way they would conduct themselves, they were just these leaders that were just beaming with ideas, doing big things. And they were always wearing YALI t-shirts and feeling so proud of YALI. So I remember one time I asked Nelson Asira, who is now the communications person for YALI East Africa, why they love YALI so much, what it is that YALI did to them, because they keep preaching YALI everywhere, and they keep telling me. I remember Nelson in particular kept telling me, you must apply for YALI. You look like a YALI person. And that is how I applied for YALI the first time when I was in Kisumu. I didn't get in my first application, but one of the things I noted between my first application and my second application was, during my second application, my path, so my career path was very defined. So at first, when I was in Kisumu, I was doing a bunch of activities, a wide range of activities. I was volunteering in women's rights. I was volunteering in anti-violence movements. So I was volunteering for a CBO called Sitarusha Mawe Tena. I was working in the county government as an intern. I was doing my undergrad. I was doing Maestros, which was SDGs for youth. And when I was applying for it, I felt like I didn't have a structure. Like I was doing so many things. And when I was writing the application, I would say, I'm doing this and doing this and doing this. And it almost seemed like I did not have a particular thing that I was doing. But when I majored into women rights and just got into the movement and children rights, then during my second application, I was very particular about what I did and the examples that I was doing. I don't know if this still applies. I think Haron might touch on it. But during my first application, there was an option of someone else recommending you. So during the YALI application, apart from you applying, an YALI alumni could recommend and say, this person needs to be part of YALI. So I don't know if that is still there, but it's something I had considered then. I don't know if there's any developments that have been made past that. So my nature of engagement with YALI activities has changed and improved over time. As I said, maybe in Kisumu, I would attend YALI events. I was in the YALI Nairobi chapter WhatsApp group and YALI Kisumu chapter WhatsApp group. So anytime people would post events and they were looking for volunteers or they were looking for people to step in, I remember I would volunteer for most of it because I was a student and I didn't have much engagement then. So that in that way, I would still get to interact with more YALI members. I would do YALI courses here and there. And then eventually, I now as part of YALI, I've gotten now to engage in YALI plant events, the American Corner events that bring together YALI alumni, collective application for the YALI Transformation Fund. I think I've been engaged in situations where we just sit down as community change makers and we say, okay, let's apply for the YALI Transformation Fund. What can we do as a chapter? I'd say we recently started the YALI Kwale chapter with members, YALI alumni members and Mandela Washington members, and we were able to locate even YALI alumni where we didn't know, whom we didn't know existed. Because at some point, YALI carries so many alumni, and then you go to a meeting and people say, they introduce themselves and say, I'm a YALI alumni, and then you get to connect with them. So I think I've connected with a lot of YALI members on just communities, even outside YALI, due to the work they are doing on the ground. Part of the networking I did in YALI has really impacted my life on a personal level. I would say, let me give a couple of examples. I did my master's program in South Africa, and I remember the lady that gave me the idea. It was during one of the YALI catch-up meeting summits in Nairobi, and she was doing a master's program in the University of Cape Town. And then she told me, oh, okay, because I was stressed about doing language exams. And she said, no, you should consider South Africa. This is what I did. This is what I applied. And she sent me the links. And that is how I applied and got into the master's. One time I was doing a research project in Botswana, and I just typed into a YALI group. I said, is anyone here from Botswana? I need help. And I remember that's how I formed very many friends from Botswana. And when I went there, they had planned everything for me. So every interview I needed to do, every organization I needed to access, they'd be like, yeah, I know an YALI alumni who works in this organization. I could always connect you to them. So I would say even one of my classmates, not one, even two of my classmates during my master's program were YALI alumni. One was from South Sudan, the other was from Kenya. We wrote a couple of projects together. We've done a couple of activities together. Some of Haron, I know Haron, we've done activities together. There's Mwadime, there's Katana. Generally, my network from YALI has created a lot of work opportunities. It isn't even my burdens when I'm outside of Kenya. I think mostly because I was in the YALI Africa-wide cohort. One time a friend of mine was going to Ghana and they didn't know who is going to host them or how they are going to navigate. And I remember connecting them with one of the YALI alumni from Ghana that I had met during my cohort. So I would say one thing I would encourage anyone who's applying for YALI or anyone who's applied for YALI and has not gotten in, I would say network with this YALI alumni. My second application, I sent it through a YALI alumni, one of my friends, and I said, look, I think I have done my best in this application, but because you got in, there must be something that you did, and you could give me comments on this, just from your perspective, because sometimes people tend to think it's luck, like, oh, well, they applied and then they were lucky to get in, but they must have used a strategy. So I reached out to this person and said, well, look at my essays. Do they make sense? Are they clear? Can you tell what I do from this application? Am I convincing enough? Am I convincing you that, or am I communicating clearly so that you are able to tell what I am doing. And they went through it, they sent the comments, and we went through it together, and then I sent my application. During the interviews, I remember practicing and being like, okay, how do I best communicate? Like, if they ask me what I am doing, how do I not get caught up in all the 20, 25 things I'm doing? And how do I just clearly state each one of them? How do I communicate? How do I express myself clearly enough so that they know? Because I know I'm doing some amazing work back in the community, but how do I communicate it so that the other person is able to tell that I am doing the work? So I would say, one, consult YALI alumni to help you through the process if you are not sure of it. Two, when you see any call for YALI activities, please attend. I know there's so many activities that I have volunteered and gone for. They had no reimbursement, they had no transport, and I had to get it out of my pocket. And this applies to even anything else that I do outside YALI. If that session, if that event, if that engagement is going to improve your career, your passions, the work you do, your personal development, do not be afraid to use your costs. Do not be afraid to take your time. Do not be afraid to even ask for clarity. I remember one time I wasn't even sure how people get support from YALI. And I remember even asking Katana, do you have anything that you're doing? Can I volunteer? Can I help you out even in all these things that you're doing? So be willing to give yourself to service, be willing to engage, to volunteer, and to sacrifice all you can in these initiatives. And also do not give up. Do not give up. I think there's other applications that I have made even outside YALI that felt like I needed to be in this space, and I don't know how to convince these people that I'm the right person, but I know I'm the right person for this space. And you get a negative response. And then even later you see the people that made it, and you start comparing. You're like, no, I think I'm even doing amazing things more than this. I think, but maybe they communicated better. They were able to clearly state out what they were doing. There's so many factors that lead to maybe someone being selected. It does not negate the work that you're doing. It does not negate your abilities as an individual. So even though you might not get in on the first application, on the second application, keep doing your work and keep applying, and eventually you might get in, eventually you might not get in, but still do the work you're doing, because even beyond YALI, your work, if you believe in God, even God recognizes the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ife. And that is definitely a fact. Like, keep doing it, keep applying. I know someone told me, like, when they were job hunting, they applied like 500 jobs. They applied, like, they kept applying and applying and applying 500 jobs for just that 1 or 2 or 3 interviews. And so at times this journey is about persistence of how badly do you want it? Because I know for some of us applied for other fellowships, and after around 3, we're like, never that serious. But how badly do you want it that you have to keep trying over and over and over? And I know there are so many stories of people who have literally applied several times and eventually they had the breakthrough. And so don't give up. And to be honest, it's not just this fellowship. There are so many other amazing fellowships, because when you really look at it, sometimes it's quite competitive. You have to make sure your application is really, really, really outstanding. You have to be outstanding to beat 7,000 applicants who are applying every time the application is happening for a slot of only 300 for 3 cohorts, so 100 people per cohort. And so you really have to ensure that you're really, really worth the salt. And sometimes, like I said, and I think like Ise said, it may be in just how you're presenting. There are a lot of us here are doing an amazing job, but go the extra mile. Because I know so many alumni, like or even friends, come to me and disturb me literally until I review their work. And I'm not always happy to do it, but because they've come, I do it. So disturb someone, ensure someone goes through with it. Like, how badly do you want it? And then you go the extra mile. Ise, before you go, I think there was a question from the previous sessions. just how many people are just saying, gosh, I've tried so many times. I've applied them over and over and over and I've not made it. What is really, really the secret? Like, what was your secret? Why do you think your application was outstanding? I think that will bring more clarity to the participants so that they know what to do. The how is very important. And then what should they look out for to be outstanding, like in the application? How should they package it? And I think bringing it down to that space will help someone who is going to complete the application tonight. How would you advise?
I would say the between my first application and the second application where I got in, there are only two differences. One, the first one, I just applied without review. So I did not engage anyone else to review my application. But the second one, I did engage YALI alumni to help me in the review process. In the first application, I felt like my ideas were jumbled up. Like there was no clear communication for what I'm really doing with relevant examples. So for example, what I would do is I would say what the problem is in the society, what I am doing in the society, and then give a relevant example. So I think the way I did it, the way I structured it in the second application was clear. So that clarity is what made the difference, I would say. And then when it came to the interview stage, I also did consult someone and have them listen to explain out what I am doing and say whether they understood it or not. So it gave me like a form of clearly expressing the work I do. Did it cover all the questions that you asked?
You had more clarity in your expression and you involved people and you went into details plus giving examples. And I think that's very important, like going into detail, like what is your personal statement? What do you stand for in the society? What are you about? What is your vision for the continent? Like, what do you envision will happen? Because these are not hard questions in terms of facts. It's about you and it's to test your passion. How passionate are you about whatever it is that you say that you're going to do? So I really appreciate that. And I like what you said, like calling someone to review and just give your second opinion, you know, so that you can go get into details about it. Yeah.
Maybe if I would add one more thing when it comes to communicating impact.
Yeah.
It's a general observation from even reviewing many applications, even at my workplace, that it's impossible to tell impact until you explain it. You provide data, you provide numerical evidence. So for example, if I say I have been mentoring girls in Kwale County and it has created impact in the community, I am not able to tell what impact community means. But if I say I'm doing mentorship in 10 schools and I have impacted 800 girls, then it's easier for the other person to get the perspective of how huge or how the scope of this impact. So if you can do that, if you can demonstrate that, it would provide more clarity and also show your work, the scope of your work.
So leaders, this is not the time to be humble. It's the time to put it all in there, exhaust all the 250 words, it stops, like you have to now reduce so that it fits. I think that's what I'm really hearing from that. I'm seeing Stephen with a question, so you can't go yet. So once Steve has his question, then we are going to have Harun get straight into it and just provide more insight. And I think what I'm hearing from the questions on the chat is people really want to know how to go about it. So I hope that Harun, you're really going to go to dig deep into the how and explain a lot more on that. Stephen, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, thank you so much once again, Esther, for giving me this opportunity. And I must say, yeah, I'm really learning a lot. My questions the name is very hard. You may forgive me.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, actually, my question is on the addressing the problem, maybe identifying a problem in the community and the solution to the problem, what you have done. Then again, what impact have your solution brought in the community? For example, on my side, we are running, I and my colleagues, we are running a refugee youth-led organization, and we are addressing a number of problems with that organization. For example, we do work on sexual reproductive health. We have activities in peace building. So you find the problems we are addressing are many. It's not just a single problem or maybe one problem. Then my question is, how can I really frame it? Because here it's talking of the problem. Can I put all those problems? Can I talk about all the problems I am solving at my organization? Or I should only pick one, then talk of that one? That's the question I need more clarity on. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question. Maybe to go back to during my introduction, I said I run an organization called G4 Girls. We work in 4 thematic areas. So I mentioned adolescent sexual health, environment, conservation, children rights, and the access to education. So that does not restrict us to only one thing that we do. So you could as well just say, I am running a youth-led organization that works in 1, 2, 3. In demonstrating impact, you can still demonstrate with 1, 2, 3 of what you did. So I can say, for example, we have distributed 670 dignity pads to over 70 schools, carried out 2 campaigns on on peace and security, and given food to 10 shelters. It's still the same. You can still give a comprehensive, like an overview of the 3 activities or the 10 activities that you do, or you can decide to single it out and say, this is what I do. What you can also just find a general term for everything that you do, which, for example, would be human rights. If I said I worked in human rights, it would still fit because I'm working in adolescent sexual reproductive rights, I'm working in environment rights, I'm working in women rights, I'm working in education rights. So you can either look for a general term that will carry everything that you're doing, or you can just state every single thing that you're doing, taking into account the word count, and then give an example of one of the impactful things that you've done, like quantify just one of it or just all of them. I don't know if that answers it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, you're welcome.
Right. Thank you so much, Ife. Yes, I like that. I think it really breaks it down and really empowers the leaders to just go straight into it, to have clarity, to narrow down or focus on what is of their greatest impact. So thank you so much, Ife, for those great insights. And I'm sure you have all learned a lot. I see Judith says they really want to be mentored. Yes, alumni have mentorship opportunities. We expose them to industry leaders and they go through the mentorship. And so those opportunities are also available. Okay, so I know the moment that some of you have been waiting for. And thank you, Ise, for ushering Harun to now finish up with how can we dive deep into this. I'm also seeing, Frida, before I go to Harun, how seriously do they consider applicants at ideation of startup stage? Because I feel like I'm currently at that stage and not confident enough to apply. No, it's okay. Like the main test is about your passion, your leadership, and there are a lot of people who are still in high school who have actually applied and gained entry. And so don't hold off until your business is successful. When I joined personally, I was working with only 15 people. After I joined, I now work with so many people. I have a bigger community. And so don't wait until it's super perfect. Just keep working. As long as your impact and your vision is great, you still have an opportunity to get in. So I hope that's okay, Frida. So you can don't hold up until there are many people who are yet to start their businesses or their ideas, and sometimes the vision is just enough. All right. So Harun, now I think you can go ahead and start our last bit of the session.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Nema, for moderating this session. We highly appreciate for accepting our call last minute. So allow me to start introducing myself. I'm Harun Modena Miesi. I'm from the most minority tribe in Kenya, actually in the coastal region of Kenya. That's Kambe, located in the grassroots level of Kilifi County. I'm a YALI alumni, cohort 30. I joined YALI back 2019. So allow me to start share. I have managed to divide my session into 3 parts. I prepared my speech, but I had to put away that speech and try to kind of be flexible, agile to make sure that it fits this session. So my engagement will focus before, during, and after YALI. So let's start with before. My first engagement started back 2016, 2017 through YALI Network. First, we need to understand there is something known as YALI Network. That's Young Africa Leadership Initiative, launched by Barack Obama. You can check it online. It was launched by Barack Obama with an aim of investing to young people within Africa. As you'll agree with me, by 2030 or by 2050, majority of the population in Africa will be young population. So the question is, how best can we turn this kind of, they call it disaster in quotes, into lifelong opportunities? So that's where the idea of YALI came on board. So YALI Network is like a general umbrella, which provides some sort of online courses from entrepreneurship, civic leadership, to public engagement. These courses, you can do them free of charge. Maybe Nema, you can share that link via chat so that our colleagues can kind of view. So where my engagement started from, I started back 2016, 2017, whereby I was to join high level education, university level, but due to this kind of a systematic inequality at a grassroots level, challenged me not to kind of pursue my dream course. I was to be given bursary, but due to some political issues at a grassroots level, I was kind of denied this opportunity. So because of that, and with my passion to serve humanity and to end this kind of inequality, I was lucky enough to know YALI Network online, and that's where I decided to kind of do these online courses. I managed to cover more than 30 courses. Those are around 30 certificates, because after every course, there's a short quiz you do. When you pass, you get that virtual certificate. So for me, it's not about those 30 certificates. For me, it's about the knowledge I gain, because if I was to pay for those 30 certificates, that's over 1 million Kenyan shillings. Yes, 1 million Kenyan shillings, but it was purely free of charge. So with this tool, I remember there was one of the best tool of organizing grassroots for action. So that's where I came up with a simple idea, like from my community, there's this challenge whereby most of our seniors, they don't understand the concept of being a change maker or being a young leader. They're like, how come this person I'll perform perfect and now is in this community doing what, blah blah. So kuna hizo kind of community stereotypes. They believe that msomi lazima akue ninio, akue amenyonga tai at a very high level doing some office work, but me now I'm at a grassroots level. You see, so I managed to form my CBO as a co-founder with my fellow colleagues. We invited around 200 to 300 young people, and only I think 4 participated for that engagement. People are like, hey, you know what, guys, this thing won't work. We are only 4. Come on, let's just dissolve this and mind our own business. I was like, guys, you know what? Relax. We start with 4 and we'll move forward. And that's how the idea was formed. The CBO was known as a Kamberibe Lamukani Youth Forum. Kamberibe, it's one of the minority comprised of two tribes. That's Kambe and Ribe within single word. So for me, I had that huge vision, but I decided to break it down into tangible steps. And I started my youth activism at a location level, build up slowly to ward level, sub-county level, onwards, evo. So the reason why I formed this CBO was I was trying to look for something to keep myself busy, because niko out of school, naona wenzangu ma university wana crave mapati, wanapiga maclass, wako na warembo huko. I'm like, oh my god, like seriously. But one time nitafika hapo. So nilikuwa tu, I'm looking for something which will keep me busy and kind of stay away from this thing. And it's through that we formed this CBO, started at a ward level, and it ended up being most vibrant CBO, let me say, the whole of Kilifi County. You'll agree with me, if you are an activist at a grassroots level, ukianza kufanya these kind of things, people will be like, by the way, huyu jamaa anafaa kuwa MCA in this community. This guy should join the politics, bwana. But for me, sikuwa na hiyo vision ya politics. For me, nilikuwa na my own call. So how did I join YALI? After like 2017, 2018, so the end of 2018, first I was rejected like 2-3 times. Now, the last time I decided to do nearly attend information session in Mombasa, Mewa. It was hosted by the alumni known as Amani Katana at Mewa American Space. So American Space, it's a space from US Embassy, which gives all the YALI alumni opportunity to host their own session free of charge. So I attended this information session. They provided us with this kind of insights, motivation, opportunities behind it, and how best you can craft a winning application. So from that session, ndio nikalan all my mistake. Kumbe nilikuwa tu najiapplyia na kusubmit to, not knowing that there's some things we need to know to make sure that your application, it's more than strong, you see? So after hizo guiding, nika come back now, sitting down and starting drafting my application in a very professional way. You see, so first thing first, something I did now this round, it's researching more. Before that, first thing first, you need to choose your kind of a track. YALI Regional Leadership Center East Africa, iko na 3 tracks. That's civic leadership, those who are doing humanitarian work at a community level or activists. Then the entrepreneurship, those who aim to do business. Then kuna last part, that's public engagement. Na public engagement ni ya wale ambao wako kwa government sector, either county government, national government, or these kind of intergovernmental bodies, you see. So for me, nika realize kumbe nilikuwa nikifanya mistake, nilikuwa nikichoose entrepreneurship instead of civic leadership, you see. So that's where the first mistake I did. I had to change to civic leadership. The next thing, I was doing a lot of things. Actually, mimi nilikuwa yule mzee, ikifika reproductive health niko hapo, ikifika mentorship boy child niko hapo, ikifika mambo na countering violent extremism niko hapo, peace building niko hapo, sijui ikifika mambo na climate change niko hapo. Like niko everywhere. Na my previous application nilikuwa nina apply, na put everything. But something I learned, another thing you need to learn, you need to be specific. I understand that some of us as young leaders, we kind of do everything, so because maybe we are looking for opportunities, and maybe because we are under-resourced, and it's a fact most of the grassroots organizations are underfunded, ending up doing a lot of things. So the first thing, you need to choose which sector you can do it perfectly, or you're doing it perfectly, ambayo uko na a lot of evidence. So for me, that time ilikuwa mambo na reproductive health, issues of giving paths young girls, mentoring young girls, being a boy child advocate for make sure kwamba mambo na reproductive health issues, because in our community it's kind of a taboo for a guy to talk about these menstruation health issues. So kulikuwa na hizo kind of period shame. You see, most ladies wanna lose low self-esteem, so they end up performing poorly. Alafu kuna hiyo issues za teenage pregnancy, you see, it's so rampant Kilifi County, you see. So what I did, nearly research from my desktop research to identify these facts. That's now will form the problem statement, you see, and putting these kind of relevant links from my desktop research, this is the observation, and from my own engagement, this is what I have observed. So due to this, I'm addressing this problem, one, by school-based intervention, two, by community-based intervention, you see. So you need to put your problem statement very clear. You need to put your solution very clear. Intervention, how you address these issues, very clear. Next thing, visibility. I understand that some of you, maybe you are so afraid to kind of put yourself in this social media, but you need to know one thing: social media are the most powerful tools which will help you, to be a great person. So I used to post every engagement. I have my own hashtag, #It's Moderna, with all the footprints since I started my activism back 6-7 years ago. You see, that time I was doing all these engagements in a volunteerism basis. My colleagues will give up and end up being a director, being a communication person, being a finance person. I can see there's a lady by the name Grace from this call. If it's the same Grace from Kilifi County, I think she's the one we worked together. She knows how we used to do things. Like you live, unatoka nyumbani very broke with nothing, heading to these engagements. I used to walk like 6 to 7 kilometers to and from, because my community is so scattered. Alafu kuna hizo terrain kiasi milima. You see, so I used to walk because so
Harun, just
yes?
a minute. There's a request from the chat that you use English only because some people don't understand Swahili.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. I didn't knew that this is one of the most diverse engagements. So because of that, after package my application, I had to add these kind of relevant links for guys to apply. No, not for guys to apply, but for purpose of evidence. Like I'm doing this and this is the evidence. You see, so that's also add mileage. So thank God by 2018, around December, I received an email. Congratulations, Harun Modena Muyesi. You have been accepted to join YALI Code 30. But before that, we did a kind of a phone call interview. Like someone called me for an interview. Kwanza, we scheduled interview. We had a phone call interview. During this interview, they were just kind of proofreading if it's really me. So what I'm trying to say, avoid plagiarism. Don't give someone to write for your application, because you will be interviewed and the interview will purely based from your application, nothing else. That means if you're the one who drafted that application, they'll know. So it's just for verification purpose. So after the interview, December 2018, I received an email officially admitted, code 30, at Kenyatta University. That was my first time to step in university. Let me be open about this. So I was like, now traveling, remember it's a full funded, everything funded. My transport from Kilifi to Mombasa to Nairobi. Now the guy from grassroots level stepping Nairobi for the first time, you can imagine about it. Lastly, at Kenyatta University, I'm like, oh, wow, this university thing smelling nice, you see? So that's where nikapata that motivation about, oh, so my work is being appreciated. Now, what should you expect during YALI engagement? First thing first, know that it's an in-person, full-funded engagement. In-person means that you will be invited at Chandaria Hall, that's at Kenyatta University, in main campus, for 4 good weeks. During these 4 good weeks, first thing first, you'll be engaged in a team building engagement, whereby the main purpose for this team building engagement is to kind of strengthen the human connection between you with your fellow alumni. One thing you should note that they only select 100 young leaders across East and Central Africa. out of 100, I think 30 to 40 are from Kenya, if I'm not wrong. So you will be engaged with some colleagues from South Sudan, Ethiopia, I don't know, Eritrea, Uganda, Rwanda, like all countries across East and Central Africa. After that kind of a team building engagement, now you'll be engaging in some of the inclusion issues. How can you diversify your engagement? You'll be engaging in 7 habits of highly effective people. How can you be a really leader in this changing environment or world? Then you'll be engaged in a problem-solving engagement using a design thinking framework of engagement. So the design thinking process, it's more of how can you identify these problems from problem solution to developing your own startup. You see, so you'll be engaging in this group discussion and you'll challenge to come up with an innovative idea with your team. And you'll be challenged to kind of pilot this idea with different partners. After those good 4 weeks, next thing during now commencement, you'll be engaged now with some high-level speakers. When I say high-level, it's a really high-level speakers to kind of come to mentor and give you these opportunities in YALI. So those 4 weeks, just to say based from my experience, my first week was the only free, but from the second week to 4th week, ilikuwa very busy week because hata nafikiria you won't get time to rest because it's a really engagement, and it will really kind of sharpen your mind very, very well. Na kutoka hapo, you'll be a very good person. Now, what next after YALI? I think that's question majority of you've been asking. Immediately ukitoka that center, you'll be the most empowered person, most vocal person. I remember nilipotoka YALI, I ended up being the most vocal person. When I say the most vocal person, is the vocal with the really facts. And being the most vocal person, it linked me to different opportunities. So one, you'll be added to alumni database. In that alumni database, they usually curate and share opportunities in either weekly or monthly basis for you to kind of apply for this opportunity. 2, you will be added to chapter leaders. So each country have its own chapter. We have Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, DRC, Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, across East and Central Africa. Then within your own chapter, like in Kenya, we have sub-chapters. That's our count chapter at a sub-county level, each chapter with its own leader. Now, in these groups, that's where now you'll be engaging with other alumni. Remember, now we are at around cohort 50 plus, cohort 50 times 100, that's around 5,000 plus alumni, you see? So now think this way, you have access to 5,000 alumni, each one doing amazing work. Each one is either a founder, a co-founder, director, and all this. Imagine that way, you see? So that's why now you'll be accessing unlimited opportunity. Let me use based from my own experience. I graduated from YALI, I think on 9th February 2019. Immediately after graduation from YALI, I was added to these WhatsApp groups, and also I received email of different opportunities. That's why I managed to bump to this opportunity from Changemakers Exchange, which is a kind of a community of changemakers across the globe with headquarters in Germany. So I applied for this opportunity. I used the same application for YALI and submit just the same thing. I passed through the same process, and I was also selected to join Changemakers Exchange Summit about issues of gender justice in Ethiopia. Wow. Now, that was my very first time to travel outside this country to Ethiopia with Kenya Airways. Imagine, just from nowhere now to Ethiopia. Now, that's now regional engagement. So during this engagement, ilikuwa too a way of strengthening human connection, knowing each other, and spark this kind of collaboration. So after that Changemaker exchange, I managed to bump into another opportunity. IGAD Center for countering countering and preventing violent extremism. They were looking for young people to join their network. So through YALI now, they were looking for young leaders within the peace building sector from the grassroots level. That's where alumni relation linked me to IGAD, and through IGAD, I was selected as a Secretary General for IGAD. So because of this, help to mute the background noise. Someone is.
I think since you're the host, I'm not able to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys for the background. Please, we are requesting if you're not talking to mute yourself to avoid this background noise. So that's where now I joined IGAD as a Secretary General for Youth Network in Kenya. And lastly, I managed to join GNDR. That's a global, I think it's a global network for disaster reduction, global network for civil society in disaster reduction, something like that. Joining these networks, now it was a turning point. And lastly, I joined the Bosch Alumni Network. Now that was a kind of a turning point now, being at a regional and global level. That's where now I learned the concept of collaboration. I realized young people at a grassroots level or at the local level, we tend to compete each other, we tend to fight each other. But at a regional and global level, people collaborate. People don't challenge each other. That's the difference I note. To cut that long story short, that's where everything transformed for good. I decided to take the YALI lesson seriously. The 7 habits of highly effective people really helped me sharpen my brain to be an effective leader. And one of the best habits, it's a win-to-win situation, you see. And also sharpening your soul. These were some of the best engagements. And lastly, as we are talking, because of YALI, last year I was selected to join Mastercard Foundation Alumni Network, Kenya chapter, representing the marginalized community. And that's where the passion for the marginalized region came up for me. And I was like, hey, why not we organize special session to bring together the marginalized community and bring the inclusion aspect in this process? Because I observe majority of the alumni were hosting information session, but there was no specific information session for the marginalized region. And that's where we decided to design this session and make sure we have a kind of a regional balance within Kenya. Yeah. So these are some of the issues which really helped me, and these are some of the advice I was like, why not sharing with my fellow colleagues and help them to be effective leaders and kind of tap into this opportunity? Because let me tell you facts. Once you leave YALI that center, hey, you'll be surprised a lot. Now, next thing, just to guide you guys, something you need to do. You need to document your work and make sure that that everything you do, it's well documented. No matter what, no matter how small it is, document it. When you document what you are doing, ensure to include numbers. Example, you're saying you are doing something within the gender equality, reproductive health. You are mentoring girls in school about these issues of the menstruation or child pregnancy. So indicate in your application that during this time, I managed to visit school ABC and engaging with these numbers of students. I mentored these students on ABCD. You see, so make sure you put numbers, make sure you put kind of the impacts, make sure you add those stories, the authentic stories. And the most important thing, make sure you say where you are coming from. You see, make sure you indicate, be proud that I'm a young refugee leader from Kakuma refugee camp. Within Kakuma refugee camp, we are empowering young people, or we are mentoring young boys or young girls on A, B, C, D. Through this empowerment, we managed to achieve this, and this. You see, so you need to communicate, be proud where you are coming from. If you identify yourself as non-binary, or one of the LGBTQ community. Communicate. I'm an LGBTQ person. I identify myself as a ABCD indicated, and I'm doing the following issues. Don't forget to share your vulnerability, challenges you are facing as a young leaders. Just simple. As a young leaders within LGBTQ, I've been facing the following challenges. You see, as a young leader from ethnic minority, I've been facing the following challenge. As a young leader from Asar region, I've been facing the following challenges. You see, so be proud and make sure you communicate everything in detail. Something most people found it weird is that I love saying one thing. I love that I was born and raised in Africa with all these problems, and I'm happy that I'm part of this problem and I'm trying to address solution, because while others are seeing a lot of problems in Africa, for me, I can only see a lot of opportunities. You see, so you need to change your mindset from seeing everything as problem and seeing all these things as solution, because that's where now you start the transformation journey. Yeah, so I think those are some of my key submissions I was planning to share with you. So yeah, so maybe let me give it back to Nema in case of any question, and also at this moment we will respond to your question. Thank you so much, and back to you, Nema.
Thank you so much, Harun. I think your story is a great testament of what is possible when you embrace learning, when you take up opportunities, whenever you see them. You just see how one person can change from just what you said, a Form 4 leaver, hoping to go to university and don't go to it. And then you actually get into university and now even travel across Africa doing more impact work. I think it's a story of possibility, and I even echo what Grace said on the chat. She's like, hello, Harun. Yes, I'm the one. You are really transformative and you inspire me a lot. So I think it's showing how impact can trickle down. And just as what even the previous speakers have been sharing in terms of how you saving yourself in turn now becomes a way of showing others what is possible and also pulling a lot of people. So all of us here, like we are just a step towards that, or we're already in it and we're doing an amazing job. So this is just to invite everyone here. Question and answer session is here. I know you've learned a lot from Harun, taking the courage, taking the step, taking the lessons, communicating with impact, owning your story, and literally not being ashamed of any part of it, even your challenges, and seeing the opportunities that can rise out from that. And I know you have a lot of questions. Please send them on the chat. You can unmute and also speak. And also you can, those of you who are already in your application process, if there's a question that you're already struggling, maybe all these panelists can find a way to help you answer some of those. But just, this is now your time to shine. If it's a comment you wanna put, I know we are a little bit over the time, but we are open. I mean, this is your day, so we are open to having you guys just say whatever it is that you have to share and have it answered. So I don't know how long we have to add to the time. Harun, you can advise, but I feel like we should really leave a lot of space for everyone to offer their contribution, or even if it's just the chat. Yeah. All right. So anyone can unmute. I can also just be checking the messages on the chat and responding, and also allowing the other people to share. I'm seeing Alexandra saying, thanks for the impactful meeting. Alexandra from Kakuma. Thank you, Alex. I'm so glad you joined us, and I'm happy you enjoyed the session. Yeah. Oh, some people have already applied. So I think right now it's nothing but prayers, right? But we wish you the best. We wish you the best now that you've applied. And yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Tranzuri. How are you?
I'm quite well. So what Harun said was really so insightful and profound. And I think these are some of the things that rural grassroots organizations like Transuri are dealing with. Because whenever you are always applying for these things, there is a way that they're framed in a systematic way that they are able. So you notice that, number one, we have a lot of issues to address.
Yeah.
And we are bombarding them all together without looking at them and making sure that the consistency is from the beginning to the end. I also admire the fact that we look at where we're coming from, and in most cases, the Western world has always looked at it as a problem, because when you're coming from Africa, everything is a problem. This does not negate the fact that there are no problems. However, it is more like looking for citizenship in another country. If you've been able to survive through all this mayhem up to now, then I think it is important for us to tell these people how best we would love to improve it, rather than just looking at it as a problem. Because a problem that you've grown into or throughout means that you have created some tools on how to thrive. However, you are only able to let these people know that, yes, it is like this, but then it could have been better for it to be addressed this way, which then now brings me to, I love that we are having this kind of conversations, but the people from YALI, how best then can they look at African leaders from a point of, yes, these are things are looking like us? Because whenever people look at Africa, they want to see anger, they want to see bad leadership, they want to see bad problems. But then these people don't sit back and see that they caused this. And we are not hurting them or calling them out. We just want them to be accountable. Because before even the then times when the colonizers came down, people were never killing each other. Colorism was never there. The LGBT community were there. Like in a Kenyan tribe, there is a place where up to now, the women are still marrying other fellow women, but then it has become a problem because it has been given a name. You understand me? That naming then now becomes the problem. So these are insightful things. I think the YALI people need to also learn to shape shift so that they also look at our things from our perspective. And above all else, we might be having some wonderful ideas, and maybe writing them on the paper is not just the only problem. I think they needed to create a cohort beyond their systematic way of picking people, so that they're able to have majority of people and the different people that then can be supported and capacity strengthened in order for them to be able to learn that English is a second language in majority of our African countries. And then secondly, we might be having great ideas, but execution is the problem.
Wow, thank you so much for that. And I think I can speak a little. And I know there are high authorities probably in YALI who can speak on the same. But just from the level at which I'm at, I know that there's special focus on people who are coming from the rural areas, people who are coming from marginalized communities, and even groups and even communities such as the LGBTQ. Like even when you look at the form, you do identify yourself as whatever it is that you identify. And just as what Harun just mentioned right now is owning your story and owning your narrative as is allows you to stand above and be a representative, and even just be someone who can speak not just on behalf but together with the different communities representatives. So there is such great focus, especially on those who are marginalized, unreached areas, because the aim is to provide opportunities for leaders who would otherwise not have these opportunities. As mentioned, I think in a lot of some of the conversation is in other fellowship, there's a lot of focus on how well you speak, on even your English. Would you believe even in the application, language is not a factor or grammar is not a factor that can discredit you from the application? what can qualify any leader to be part of the great of this application and success is the work that you're doing. And that's why I'm saying, why I'm saying is where communication is failing, use your links and lead us to your pages so that those who are reviewing can actually see your work at hand, and there's no way to deny that. But also on the other flip side, working with another person, because I know it's very sad when you are disqualified on the basis of your application and yet you're doing an amazing job. And I think why I'm also really appreciating all of us and the work that Harun and the team are doing, Kina Fatma and Yoal, Isse, is just reminding us of the opportunities that exist just by our diversity. And because of this diversity, we also actually have special consideration because we are, in a sense, disadvantaged in other spaces. But the fact that YALI considers these special different groups and really singles out to ensure that there's a lot more representation in terms of even countries like Eritrea that have been hard to reach countries, for example. There's efforts where our leaders go and speak there and ensure that there are more recruits in CAR, you can imagine. So by us being here, we are representative of the people wherever we come from. So once we get into the program, we are able to preach to the rest and tell them, this is what I've seen. So you pull in more people into the space. But I really appreciate that feedback. And I think once this video is ready, I'd be happy to share what you said, like high consideration for special groups to be just taken as a cohort, and that ensures more representation. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and also just to add on a quick one, nowadays social media is not that imperative or is not going to be as impactful as we would want them, because working with ITGNC, meaning the intersex, transgender, and gender non-conforming organizations, I mean people in the rural area, our member of parliament is Honorable Kaluma, and you know very well that this is the gentleman who tabled the anti-LGBT community bill in the court. And this has made it's become a big challenge even on working, because with us is not attacking us like literally, but then your homes are being marked, your family members are being marked, and your offices are being marked. So anything that you are using on social media, it is basically like giving him the thought, it's like really clearing his thought process and making him know like what we are talking about in order for him to include it in his work at the parliament, so that in case the president, who is perceived to be too Christian and too cultural, to put a signature on it and it becomes a law, it can affect us all. So this has made us to shrink and be coy on sharing our work on social media and the things that we do, because we are not only just protecting our organizations, we are also protecting those that we are serving. So social media right now is not like a very good priority to look at what people are doing. However, create like two task force working groups. One that is able to walk into the rural areas and just sit down with the people, ask them what they are doing, try explain to them, and then support them in putting their work together in the English or whichever way. And also to make sure that in as much as we are not making it to YALI, there is also something whereby there is what YALI alumni are doing. That is one. Number two, and that one is actually around mentorship and strengthening of capacity. And then also number two, it is all on finding out, because rural-based organizations like ourselves, we struggle with things like, you want to write a proposal, because applying for YALI is basically like writing a grant proposal, and you want somebody to understand. And some of us have got great ideas, but how to execute them and put them together? How How do you even do that when you don't have something as little as a laptop? You still use
All
paper
right,
and
all
pen.
right. Like, yeah. Thank you, Transuri. I appreciate that feedback, and I just to let you know and to ease you, these ideas will be taken in and will be shared with the admissions team, because there are such great ideas on how to reach a lot of rural youth or people doing an amazing job and can be traced. And really, really appreciate those great insights, because I think we are always asking our questions on how can we get the best of the best. Remember, these are 7,000 applicants, and you don't want someone who deserves the slot to be out there and another person who, you know, is just lucky makes it in there. So I'm thinking, even as you apply, and I'm sure what you just talked about, the alumni reaching out, because it is true, not everyone can make it into the program, all the 7,000, based on the resources that are limited. But the work that the alumni are doing to cascade and to ensure that the message reaches everywhere. And I'm sure you are here courtesy of Harun, who has been able to cascade whatever information that is happening. And by sharing these opportunities with members of your communities, it makes this information that is out there and everyone can access. The YALI networks, all those opportunities that are available. I am seeing I'm seeing some questions here, and I know, okay, so maybe I can read it, but maybe we can have one or two questions as we plan to exit, so that we can respect each and every person's time. So I'll just read what Christine shared, and any of the panelists can actually respond. I see Harun, your hand is up. So for someone currently engaged in policy, looking to leverage YALI for sector transformation, then eventually innovate a project in the sector, what would you advise someone to go study a track, governance, leadership, or entrepreneurship? I think that's civic engagement. That's civic, right? Yeah, that's civic engagement, right? So not seeing any other question. For someone who's submitted, if you've already submitted and you feel like you want to revise, I think you reapply, I think. But yeah, but I think you can with better information. Just in case you are the one writing one sentence each, you can change your ways and go and improve your paragraph, because one sentence will not cut it. So Alexandra, I see your hand is up. Go ahead and ask the question, and Harun will answer it. And if there are no more questions, I think we can be happy to just post on the link or our LinkedIn, so that in case anyone wants to chat other people later, they actually can. Let's make this a networking session. So Alexandra, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, madam, for this chance. I'm actually in Kakuma refugee camp, and have been inspired with some alumni from YALI, what they are doing here in Kakuma, some from my colleagues and the others who have been with them in family and members and also neighbors. It's very kudos work that they are doing in the community. I tried to apply last year. I didn't make it. We understand because there are so many applications. My question came, wherever I have already submitted my application. As you said, there is no way to review it. Okay, let me hope that I've already done my work. Maybe I leave it to the God. Also, I received last week email from YALI recommended me to add maybe more people from our organization. I'm leading an organization here in Kakuma called RIORI. RIORI stands by Refugee and Host Resilience Initiative. Currently, we carry out 3 activities. One on agriculture. We are empowering women through agribusiness, and also we have women empowerment through and the GBV protection, which we are in partnership with DRC, then Refugee Council, and funded by ECHO. We are doing something amazing, and you may see it even on social media and whatever. After applying only 24 hours, I received an email from your side or management, YALI management, recommended me maybe to involve other 2 or 3 people to apply on behalf of our organization. I tried to reach some of my body also to apply, but they're still requesting me maybe to sit with them and give them instruction. And I'm still also green on it. It's my first, second time to apply. I'm not that professional on it. That's why I said, no, let me consult and ask some question from your end. How can I help them? And I'm also still waiting my application there. Is that advisable to do so? Or I can also consult the other YALI admin within the Kakuma. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I'm thinking if you really want and you feel like you want a better chance, you can consider reapplying with another registration, so that just in case you have your best chance with this information now. And yeah, so I think the recommendation is mainly just as Transuri, and I know Transuri, that's not your name, that's the name of the organization, but allow me to just use that, has just mentioned, is in the effort of picking people who are leaders from different places. So when you recommend someone, because you trust their leadership, that also now gives the center an opportunity to reach out to people who probably would not have had this information in the way that we announced. So I think if you know a YALI alumni, and just by you participating, I feel like after participating in this session, you probably feel a lot more confident. So you can reach out to any of the alums, and you can also reach out to Harun. And also just with the information that you have now, I think you might have a lot more confidence to reapply and also advise the others who probably were not there. And maybe when Harun shares the video, you can also share the same. But yeah. So I'll take it back to Harun because he has lifted his hand as you wind up, and also invite the other panelists to come on board even as they share their parting shots.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Nema. Just to share something, because I have realized majority of the participants in this call, they were more concerned about the rejection part of it. So just to give my quick feedbacks concerning the rejection part, something you need to do, first thing first, you need to make sure that you are documenting your work. Everything you are doing, make sure you are documenting it. For my side, I have been documenting everything, and I have my all kind of a documentation well stored in my Google Drive. So document your work and be ready, because you never know when opportunities will knock your door. 2, you need to be vibrant via social media. I understand that because we are from the marginalized community, it's a little bit sensitive, especially the LGBTQ community. If you cannot form your social media and post under your name, you can use your organization, and just begin when you are doing this posting. Like for me, I'm more active via LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is more safe than any other social media. See, so you need to understand the social media landscape in Kenya or East Africa and see which one does it best fits you. But if you cannot post, especially now, this is for the LGBTQ community. Especially example, those from Uganda. I understand Uganda, it's a very different thing. So make sure that you document your work. Make sure you put photos within your Google Drive. And when you're applying for this opportunity, just share that link to them so that anyone can access. So you have 2 ways. 1, post with your organization, or 2, just kind of preserve this kind of knowledge activities report and share when you apply for this opportunity. 3, you need to choose the right track. We have three tracks: that's civic leadership, entrepreneurship, and public engagement. Go back to YALI website and make sure you read that website at a very begin, mainly the section of the requirements. Whom are they looking for? Have your checklist. Mark, do you qualify? If yes, tick. If not, how best can you make sure you qualify within that track? You see, so choosing the right track, it's very perfect, because if you choose the wrong track, there's a high possibility that you'll be rejected. Another point I like to share is that you need, if possible, it's not a must, but if possible, have someone to review your application. Attend the information session and have someone to review your application. We have recorded this session. We will preserve. We will upload it in our YouTube channel, and we'll share with you guys so that take your time, review again, and kind of if you can have someone to review your application, that's perfect. You see, so make sure you take this advantage. If you know any other alumni, share. Remember, we have only a few days. Deadline, I think it's 1st on March. So you have from now to Friday. So you need to think about this. Another point is that when you're drafting your application, be you. You can either use the first voice, I as Harun Madena Mies, I've been doing ABCD, or you can use the third, I don't know if it's third passive voice, like a third voice, like the third voice, it's more of someone reporting on you, but you are the one applying. Now you need to be keen. Sometimes I was reviewing some application in my different projects, and someone is using both first person voice and third person voice. That's a mistake. You need to use, are you applying you as you, being proud of yourself, or are you putting yourself as a third person voice? Be keen about this. Then the last point is about the recommendation. I think in the application, there's someone whereby it asks you, have you been recommended by anyone? Feel free to use any of us. We have Nema, there's me, and there's Yol, and also Ise, and my colleague from Asal, Fatima. So feel free to put our names. You're so free that we have recommended you to join this session. So these are some of the things which will reduce the rate of rejection. Then lastly, you need to know that sometimes these rejections are just like a stepping stone. So use rejection as a positive thing. If you get rejected, go back to your application, ask yourself, what mistake did you do? And kind of rectify that mistake. If you didn't put enough evidence, now keep doing amazing. Like I remember when I was rejected, I had to put more effort because I knew YALI, it's only opportunity which will transform myself, for better. Grace, there's a lady by the name Grace who we told you when I was doing my activism at a grassroots level. I used to have nothing completely, just walking 6 to 10 kilometers, doing my mentorship to these schools, taking awesome photos, posting online, go back home, sleep, something, you see, and I used to document all these things. So whoever was reviewing was like, by the way, this guy is really maintain consistency. So
so passionate.
Yeah,
Harun, you
share
have to
your
summarize.
challenge, resilience, and achieve. Thank you so much. Back to you, Nema.
Oh, you already done.
Yeah, I was finalizing.
You know, we can't get enough of you. So we even forget that time is moving. All right. So your parting shots and just last advice in a few minutes as we allow everyone to go home. And just participants, everyone, you can just put your comment. How has the session been for you? Feel free to write on the chat. How are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you looking forward? And yeah, Yoel, to you.
And thanks again, Esther, for having us. And to our participants as well for joining us. I hope that was impactful on your end. I'll be very brief because already we are behind the schedule. And this is my parting shot. I would just like to tell all of you that in what you do, be authentic. You know, at times as young people, we are called to, try and exaggerate what we do. You realize you are a very young organization founded, 2 years ago. You have 2 volunteers, including yourself. And when you're writing your application or your essays, you are tempted to say that we impacted 2,000, 3,000 people with no funding. And you realize a lot of organizations also encourage that because it's good, from the end. And it's not good. Try to be as authentic as you can. If you've been impacting maybe, let's say, 10 people, 100 people. It's good to have your data. Let them be available maybe on your website pages. That is already enough. Imagine impacting 2 people or 3 people, 4 people who their life really like meaningfully changed. Already that's a big cause. So don't try to exaggerate what you do. I know it might get you through whatever you want, but when you get there, you realize, I should have done better. And the other thing is about social media. I know it's a very volatile space, but the relevancy of it also matters. Yeah, try to identify with, let's say, the social media that will support what you do. Because let's say like now, for me, I'm not on Facebook, but there are people who are making a fortune out of Facebook. Yeah, so relevancy of what you do, and also aligned it with relevant site also become very key. So do what you do, keep doing what you're doing, but just try to have an umbrella. Because if you look at me right now, we're in the mental health space. Yeah, we're using art and storytelling to bring about healing, to people that might not have access to psychologists. But you realize mental health have like many causes. It's not just about, there was war in my country. You realize that, the financial inclusion is important. The idea of the economic inclusion is very key. So, but those are just projects. As an organization, you have your mission and your vision. Yeah, let your organization have a purpose, and whatever comes, just become a project of your work. So don't be caught up in, telling people, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing ABCD. Just have that one thing in specific, and everything else will align. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all panelists. I see Ise is there, but she's not active. Thank you, Ise, for making time for this session. Thank you, Yoel. Thank you, Haron. And thank you, all of us participants who have been here listening until the end. Stephen, I see your hand. I wish you could just type it on the chat, but if it's a goodbye note and just saying like a comment on behalf of all the audience, I'll allow you to speak, and then you can type whatever question and follow any of these leaders later. So, Stephen, as your last very brief statement.
Yeah, thank you once again. I know we are really running out of time, and I think it's really important to also give a word of appreciation to our presenters. Yeah, I have nothing much to say, just to say thank you to all of you who have actually given your time to us, sharing your experience with us. It has been really a learning session. I believe from my part, and I know from other participants, we shall go back with a big hope that we shall really do something to our community wherever we are. And I was seeing a comment that I am motivated to apply again. Someone who have commented before that I've given up already. This indicates that what you have really said during this session is so inspiring, and it's really making us to keep or to stick to what we are doing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate you. I'm going to have Harun put for us the last song so that we can just live in happiness and with great joy. Thank you, each and everyone. My name is Esther Neema, and it was really lovely being your host.
Sure.
See you soon in the future.
Just to award something quickly before you leave. Stephen, Grace, Transzuri, Christine Karanja, and Bethel, get in touch with me, plus Chantel. You can get in touch with me and we'll give you support to review your application. So if I've mentioned your name and you're planning to apply, please free to get in touch with me via email and we'll give you support. And also, if you want to leave behind this call, if you have a very specific question, please feel free to leave behind and we'll give you support. So thank you so much and have an awesome moment as you enjoy the music.
All right. So you are the DJ right now because you're
Oh,
the host.
God.
So
I have to play medication music. Meditation.
yes.
Hello, guys. I can see some few people remaining behind. I can see Frida, Judy, Steven. Do you have any question, maybe? Before we end the call?